Good afternoon. Almost.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. I'm back in my office. I have my computer back on my desk in my craft room. So, because I've
This
been,
is weird.
what's that?
I hear you. I don't see you.
Well, how could you see? I didn't know we were on video.
No, I mean I don't see you on the screen.
Oh, yeah, I see it. There's the
It,
Optimize My Life and then Linda Clayton.
so we are changing some stuff up. So I don't know if you
Okay.
noticed or not, but we are now fad-free food.
Yes, I see that.
Real talk, real nutrition. And it fits better and it's more updated with what's going on in the environment and everything else.
Great.
And it got Beth's seal of approval.
Good, 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 good. Oh, good, good, good. Well, I'm looking forward to this. So,
So we do have an official not website, we got websites, email now. So it's optimizemylife2@gmail.com.
ooh, okay. Optimize my life too. Okay.
Yeah.
I will write that down. Of course, my office is in complete disarray because I haven't been in here for 2 months. So, um, two at Gmail. Wonderful. I'll get that in my book that is in the other room right now. So,
And so this is where you can request to sign up for newsletters that'll start coming out soon and get updates on get options to get put on calendar invites. So when there's particular shows you want to know about for all the listeners that'll
great.
be out there. And for like you, I'll be blowing up your email today or tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm
That's good.
scheduling all the shows out. So,
Wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Hey. Hi, Linda.
Well, hello there.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, so much better. So much better. I have
Good.
my last nurse visit tomorrow. And then Monday, the supervisor comes and officially releases me from nursing care after 2 months.
How exciting. That's,
What was that?
I said, how exciting. That's wonderful. Sorry, I just switched to my headphones.
Oh, that's why it popped. Yeah, since February 11th until now. It's been a long road, but it's wonderful. It's worked. Modern medicine and wonderful nurses and lots of prayer.
Yep, takes all of it, I think. All right, let's see. I really wanted to do this from my computer, but my computer's running really slow, so I'm doing it from my phone.
it's the best part of modern technology. It works great when it wants to.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it is the top of the hour.
Yeah, we did it.
We did it. And So it's the same great show as before, always has been. We have just updated some of our stuff to talk more about what we normally talk about, but it gets everyone's attention a bit more. So Nutrition Matters is now going to be fad-free food talk. Real nutrition, news, real simple. Tired
I'm
of all the
excited.
diet fads, nutrition myths? Join us every Wednesday with Beth and Linda. A no nonsense conversation about real nutrition. Each episode serves up bite sized science based advice to help you eat well without the overwhelm, no fluff, no trends, just real food, real talk, and real results. You know, which is great because we're hearing so many different things about, if you're sick or this, you need to eat more of this or eat more of that. And it gets really hard, especially when you got certain people that are head of the health department retracting their
So,
BS.
so that is part of what I have for today. Um, is like, and I'm like, how politically correct do I stay? How much
Well,
do I want to make sure I'm not going to get like tracked down? Um, but there's we need to make sure that what the things that we're doing are also safe. I feel like there's this like this thought that like, oh, it's food, so therefore it must be fine, and like what could really go wrong, right? And like, I'm not going to overdose on food, and it's like, well,
you can. Every time you think of what can possibly go wrong, nothing's gonna happen. Something goes wrong.
yeah. And there's like, so let's start out generally before I have one area I would love to focus in on today. And like one specific vitamin, but generally speaking, right, looking at where our food comes from, and this has certainly come up in the past, but not from a government agency. The idea of only eat foods you can pronounce, right? And we've heard this from like wellness influencers or like nutrition influencers, even before they were called influencers and they were just like, diet gurus. It's the same kind of thing. And that's all well and good, but just because you can't pronounce it doesn't make it bad. It just means you can't pronounce it. So I remember very distinctly an ice cream company that went through this of like, look, a 5-year-old can read our ingredients but can't read the ingredients of our competitor's company, and trying to say that like their ice cream was better because it was like the ingredients were so much simpler. And I mean, it works for ice cream because like then you're saying like, okay, there's not as many fillers and things in this product. um But when you're looking at other things, especially fortified foods, and I don't think that we recognize how many of our foods are fortified across the board for very good reasons. Um, I wonder if I can find a list.
Milk is a good example.
Milk, I always think of grain products. So our breads and cereals are all fortified. You'll find fruit juice that's fortified. So, like, think about if you're ever picking up a thing of orange juice that also has calcium, or like you're saying, milk with vitamin D. Like, those are fortified foods. We have adulterated them, we've added other stuff to them, but it's not bad, right? It was a public health intervention to help prevent deficiencies.
I
So
buy
there,
those on purpose.
you buy what on purpose?
Like the juice with with the calcium in it, the
Yeah,
vitamin D with the milk. I buy the fortified ones on purpose.
yeah. Um, so also, and I think I've said it on here. I don't know. I've been on this soapbox a lot lately. Um, like our salt. is fortified with
Yep.
iodine. And one of the big issues with people when we started to see an increase in utilization of other types of salt, like Himalayan salt and sea salt and all this, is that those aren't fortified. They don't have the additional iodine like your regular, Morton's table salt is going to. And that was a public health intervention. There were a lot of people with goiters, and that's not something we see anymore. It's like it looks like a big bump on your throat, right? Like big.
Mhm.
And we don't see those now. And part of the reason for that is because we have iodized salt. The iodine helps prevent goiters. So there's a reason that it's there. My favorite are the cereals and breads and flour products are typically fortified with folate and B vitamins. And folic acid is one of those things. We had an entire episode a few weeks ago, Mary, where we talked about that. About folate and folic acid and its importance for like neurofunctioning and neurodevelopment. And one of the big pushes historically has been getting enough folate for women of childbearing age, because the in terms of the timeline, you need the woman needs to have enough folate in their body while the baby is forming so early on. It's at a time when most people don't even know they're pregnant. And so that's why the recommendation for prenatal vitamins is typically any woman of childbearing age, because you need that increased level of folate or folic acid before you would even know that you needed it. And so having fortified cereals and fortified bread products is just another way to make sure that women have enough of it available in their bodies, and it's not going to hurt anybody else. It's a water soluble vitamin.
But that could also explain why a lot of neurodiverse individuals crave the carbs, crave the bread. If it's
Bread
already
specifically.
fortified and they're not getting enough of that anyway, that could be their body's way of telling them they need it.
So I used to eat bread yeast, and would thought it was the most delicious thing in the world, and it's actually extremely high in B vitamins. And that's not something you're going to see on the label, right? But I just remember eventually finding out that was really high in B vitamins, and part of the reason I was going for it is I needed more B vitamins, like as a kid. That was interesting. That was interesting. So those
Yeah.
are fortified, and then also things like baby food and baby cereals are fortified. Um, I do work with childcare centers on making sure their meals are reimbursable according to like federal and state guidelines and things. And one of the things that we have to look for is whether or not the formula is iron fortified. In order to be a creditable formula, there either has to be a medical statement or it has to be an iron fortified formula. So again, going back to like proper like development at that age, it's very much still development that we're looking at, as well as functioning. They need more iron, and so baby cereals are fortified. Um, there's yeah, they're usually formulas are usually fortified with vitamin D as well, because I remember for my kids, um, the doctor had us supplement with vitamin D drops because they were breastfed, not formula fed. And that doesn't come in like a fortified version. So we had to do, essentially fortification. We had to give them vitamin D drops. So foods are fortified for a reason, and it's typically like a population level health intervention. Hey, this is something that we see most Americans are lacking. what's something that we can put it into to get it out on a broader scale to improve the health of the population at large, right? And now it's like this like online wellness culture, I guess, because it's not always about dieting. It's not always about like weight loss. No, some of it's about like biohacking and health optimization, and there's just so many different terms out there. But I feel like a lot of it is looking at like, oh, well, we don't want extra stuff in our food. Let's go back to having it be super natural. And like, that's it. There's a reason that we
Yes.
started fortifying. And I think that part of this is that like it's been so long since we've seen the issues that come from not having that fortification. But it's like we forgot. And if it's not like taught about, even in like a grade school level, no one's going to think about it, right? You're not going to say, well, why is there vitamin D in my milk? You're not going to think about like rickets and what that looks like. Conceptually, most people don't know what that looks like. I mean, we do have Google, so if you knew that it was an issue, you could go look it up and see why it's a problem. But we don't see people with these problems in our day-to-day lives anymore. And so we start to think, oh, well, it's not a problem, so why do we have this? And it's like, well, we don't have the problem because we have the fortification.
Yes.
And it's like, and that's a conversation I feel like really needs to happen. Like, it's there for a reason. These were very I don't want to say basic, but like, these were public health interventions before we necessarily called them public health interventions.
That's why we call them public health interventions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
like
yeah. So I mentioned rickets, and just in case anybody is not in a place to be Googling that while they're, if you're listening while you're driving, like I usually do to podcasts, like please don't stop and Google. It's a childhood disease where the bones are very soft, which is not great because bones are supposed to be hard because they are the structure that holds up your body. And so you end up with like deformities, most notably like bowed legs. But it's a vitamin D deficiency. And so it's this extreme lack of vitamin D over the course of a prolonged period of time in childhood, where they have very soft, weak bones. They can like be malformed, leading to like the bow legs or other deformities. But that's something that we don't see as much. And there's been a big push about vitamin D supplementation. We have vitamin D in our milk. And I feel like vitamin D testing has become so common that it's even easy to catch like insufficiencies. So that's not a full deficiency. It's just, hey, you don't have quite enough, but you're not bad enough to be considered deficient yet. And it's that catch point where you can catch it and make it right. So it's, yeah, and those are things that we don't see all the time. I remember seeing pictures, I don't remember what like decade this came from, where they used to have these like cages that you could put in your window so that you could put your baby out in the sunlight.
Oh, I remember seeing those. Yes.
Yep.
Especially
Yeah.
like New York City or the big,
Very, very urban areas.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. When
To
my
help with
daughter was
vitamin
born,
D.
she had the thing with the liver issue.
Jaundice.
There you go. And thank goodness we had the bay window, but we would set her in the bay window.
Yeah. Yep.
Or I just set her out on my deck.
We are fancy looking plants sometimes is what it feels like. But yeah, it's the sun exposure helps with processing the bilirubin so that they're not quite so yellow. That happened with my son. I don't My daughter's birth was a whole traumatic experience. I don't remember if she had any kind of jaundice or anything. Um, but my son did. I remember that. So, so yeah. Um, what other? Those are. That's it. Oh, eggs can be fortified with omega-3 fatty acids, but I don't know. There's no reason. Just eat some fish. That's you could, and I get it because a lot of people don't like fish, or like before you could easily like freeze and ship things, or some people don't like frozen fish. They would always want it fresh. You could do it this way instead. Um, I'm more partial to just eating more fish to get in more omega-3s and 6s. Um,
Can't you use different oils for that too?
you can. Yep. Yeah. Let me see. This is where we get into the oil conversation, right?
I'm just curious because, like with my son, he's got eczema issues all the time and dry skin issues. So instead of buying expensive lotions that don't work
Do you
really
rub
well,
oil on him?
I buy coconut oil and just rub them on.
Yeah. Let me
It
see.
doesn't stay oily long, so he's okay with it.
Coconut oil is a great moisturizer. So, my daughter put deodorant in her hair,
Oh,
and it has like a drying effect, right? So it has like an antiperspirant in it, and so it has a little bit of a drying effect, and it dried out the patches of her hair that she put the deodorant in.
oh my.
So we ended up doing like a coconut oil mask on her hair, basically. Like I slathered her head in coconut oil to put the moisture back in to the sections that had been like stripped of the moisture by the deodorant. That was a yeah. Yep.
It works and it's cheaper than buying the hair oils because I do that with my hair because I have thick, dry hair.
Yeah.
And so when it gets muggy, my hair looks, which is why I always wear it in a ponytail a lot of times if I don't get it thinned in time.
I'm on a you can't see me. One day we should start doing these as videos. I'm on a wavy slash curly hair journey right now, because it's getting less and less straight as I get older.
Mine
Um,
is the opposite. My hair has gone from super curly when I was younger to just to have a wave now.
it's wild how things change with like hormone shifts and then with like the hair texture as it gets like either gray or white or whatever color it decides to be. Um, But yes, to answer your question, algae as well as nuts and seeds will also have omega-3s, is where we got from this. So, but that comes down to how are you balancing what you're eating, right? It's not, this is where it comes down to, are you just eating food to eat food, or are you watching what you're choosing to make sure that you're getting in those quote unquote good fats a couple times a week? Um, and this is where like oils are not bad for you, it's how much you're having, right? The dose makes the poison, as they say.
And the
um
kind makes the poison.
what
And the kind you use, like using lard as an oil instead of other
it's
oils.
as somebody who really enjoys an egg fried in bacon grease, like, is it the healthiest option? No. But
That's
the
our household.
flavor, what?
That's our house.
Um, correct. And so there's been this narrative online of returning to frying things in lard and beef tallow, which is just a fancy name for
Lard.
lard.
Which
Um,
is fat.
yep, it is just fat. And that is a saturated fat. And there's been research showing that saturated fat is not good for your overall heart health, right? So it's not that you can't have any, but that's a food you want to limit. So why would you start to put more in?
Well, that, and I remember back a few years ago, the Paula Deen problem. Paula Deen was the big Martha Stewart of the time after Martha Stewart went to prison. And
I really
she
like this timeline.
got nailed so bad because she's Southern cooks. She cooked everything with
Yep,
lard.
yep.
We don't
And
eat
it's,
Paula Deen no more because it's bad.
uh-huh. Um, and so that's one of those, like, okay, if we're looking to say, it always depends, right? But like, say you're trying to lower your cholesterol and your specifically your triglycerides, which is like one of the measures that's usually taken with a cholesterol panel. Like, getting in more of those omega 3s can be really helpful. And so, getting in either seafood or nuts and seeds or like can help with that. So then when you have a whole handful of people that are like demonizing seed oils, I'm like, but if you use, but like that's one of the ways that maybe somebody who doesn't ever eat fish can get in their omega 3 content. So now, like, it's like now I've got to work on dismantling a false belief and then get you to do the behavior change of adding in an omega 3 and where does that fit to balance out your day and not suddenly throw you into this spot where you're just like spooning oil into your mouth. Because I feel like, well, no, because I remember like my dad lowering his cholesterol and he's like, well, I stopped using butter and I just use olive oil. I'm like, yes, but drenching your toast in olive oil
Oh,
isn't the answer. Like,
right.
like there is a balance to be found, and that's something that like with the nutrition counseling part of medical nutrition therapy, it's almost become harder because it's like I have to, like I said, dismantle the false narrative and false beliefs and then get you to find like this happy medium, right? Where it's not this all or nothing of like, well, look it, now I put olive oil on everything. I remember somebody using olive oil instead of salad dressing, and they're like, oh my God, it's so many calories. I'm like, yeah, sure is. It's good for you, but it's like we still need to watch how much you're using.
Right, right.
It's wild to me sometimes, but it's not. I don't know. I don't know. Moderation is
Not
something
an
that we have
all or
difficulty.
nothing. There's the balance. It's not,
God, I'm
over.
suddenly so tired. Just, and this is honestly, I used to go through this with Dr. Oz, who is now the head of the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. I would have patients come in and they're like, well, I saw on Dr. Oz, and I'm like, full stop. He is I believe, a cardiothoracic surgeon, right? Which is really awesome, super hard work. I'm sure he's incredibly talented. He's not a dietitian,
Yes.
right? So I'm like, that's awesome. And yes, like diet has a huge role in the outcomes for his patients or like why people end up seeing him to begin with. But it's like, but his knowledge base is not my knowledge base. And so what he's telling you, even if he's doing a little bit of reading about it, he does not have like the training and the nuance of all of the things put together that's going to lead me to make a recommendation for whoever it was, right? So that used to be the bane of my existence was Dr. Oz and his TV show. And now he's the head of CMS. So that's going to be great. It was every day, sometimes all day long of, well, I saw on Dr. Oz I should eat this berry. And I'm like, sure, I guess. Like if you want to eat that berry, you can use it as your fruit, but that doesn't mean that you only eat that berry and nothing else. Or like, please don't take a supplement without checking.
Uh-oh, I think we lost you.
It's not directed at you personally. So yeah, I'm not excited about that. Um, but so we talked about why foods are fortified. I'm like, well, how did I get into that? So just because you can't pronounce something doesn't make it bad, right?
Oh,
How I said
love
that
that one. I
bread,
love that one.
yeah,
When people say that.
it doesn't, and I guess, and I don't know where this came from, but I saw another dietitian reacting to like a couple of them actually saying something about like I guess there was a big thing about how to pronounce riboflavin, and that's a B vitamin. So any of your fortified bread and cereal products are going to have that in there. But you like honestly for these people like go research it then. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. Like for people that are big on their own doing their own research, go look it up then. It's yeah, like I guess so all right, here. This is a box of Count Chocula cereal because that's where we were. And yes, that means it's from Halloween and we still have it. Um, and it says, it does list the vitamins and minerals that are in it, right? And some of them it'll tell you its common name. So like B2, vitamin B2. But then it'll also tell you its actual name, riboflavin. And so it'll tell you like vitamin B6, but it also says pyridoxine hydrochloride. It tells you vitamin B1, but also says thiamine mononitrate. So it's just that you aren't familiar with the word, right? Like if they wrote this in a different language, I wouldn't immediately say, "Oh, I don't know these words, I shouldn't eat it." I would say, "Oh, this is written in French." Like it's I don't know. It's a little bit of knowing what you don't know and recognizing that you can either go learn it or trust the process.
Right.
Um, God, I'm running through emotions today. Now I'm like fired up. I was tired about it, and now I'm like amped up about it. um, but I mean, this one has it. This one has it in English and Spanish. Um, but that's a cool way to do it. That it's got like the common vitamin name and also what the actual ingredient they used to get there was. And that's not a requirement in labeling, right? They can just write the ingredient that they used to add in the vitamin C. Because there's different ways to do that. So that is a-okay. You can either use it as a point to go educate yourself about a word you didn't know. You don't need to create fear around it. And we've all got Google in our pocket at this point. Like, maybe you don't. Maybe you left your phone at home. But for the most part, we can all just look it up. You don't even have to type. You could probably take a picture of it. Or, something like that. So there's options of educating yourself appropriately and being able to look for factual answers, right? So you're not like, if you're saying, okay, well, we'll go with riboflavin still. What is riboflavin? You're not looking like, you're just looking for a definition of what it is. You're not looking at what is it used for? Why is it good for you? Is it ever bad for you? That kind of thing. Good news is it's water soluble. If you have too much of a water soluble vitamin, you just pee out the extra. This is also assuming that you have functioning kidneys, but like you just pee out the extra. End of story. You might get a little bit of a stomach ache or something if you've got too much. I remember once I had too many vitamin C drops, like that look like cough drops, right? They were delicious, and I kept eating them. Um, I just got like a little nauseous, and then it went away. Like it wasn't anything big. My stomach was just kind of upset, but I ate a lot of them, so there's a variety of reasons my stomach could have been upset. I was also a child. Like this is not something I did last week. I feel like I should put that out there.
That helps.
You guys are like, wait, why would you do that? No, I was a child. But I remember getting really nervous because I'm like, oh my God, I took too many vitamins. And my mom was like, you're going to just pee it out. Just, it's all right. There are, and this is the segue into what I actually wanted to talk about today, there are vitamins that Don't do that. There are vitamins that are not water soluble that you can get to toxic levels. They can cause harm. So the dose makes the poison, like I said before. This is one of those things where there is a valid upper limit. Um, there are only four: A, D, E, and K. As we know, most people are deficient in vitamin D. So have at it. You're probably not going to get to a toxic level, but you could. You're going to have to work real hard, and it's probably never going to happen. Vitamin K we find in like leafy green vegetables. Um, Again, I don't think I've ever seen like a toxicity situation for vitamin K. I actually don't even know what the symptoms of a vitamin K toxicity are off the top of my head. Vitamin K.
I just know when I was on warfarin, they warned against too much vitamin K because of blood clotting.
Yep. So on a medication like warfarin, there is a nutrient interaction with vitamin K. And so it becomes important to have the same amount of vitamin K every day, right? So like if you eat broccoli every day, you got to keep eating broccoli every day. You can switch to a different leafy green if you wanted, but you can't cut it out. And if you did cut it out, you have to go back to the doctor and get your medication adjusted. Or if you're somebody who doesn't really eat green vegetables and you're on warfarin and then all of a sudden you go on this like diet kick and start to eat green veggies, you have to go to the doctor and get your medication adjusted. Yeah, there's a direct influence on warfarin with vitamin K. And that's
Luckily,
actually one that I use as an example when I teach the pharmacy students. So you're not. I was looking to see what is the upper limit. It's extremely rare, especially if you're just getting it through food. You would really need to do like very, very excessive supplementation of vitamin K to get into that toxicity range. And essentially, what happens is your blood cells start to explode.
Oh, well, luckily I'm on Eliquis now, so I'm not on it anymore.
But yeah, if you have too much vitamin K in your system, your blood cells can start to rupture or explode, right? That's not great. That's not what you ever want them to do.
Yeah,
So,
fun.
yeah, not awesome. Vitamin E, and this is something that people will supplement for like liver support or liver health or like for like healthy skin and things like that. And there's vitamin E oils. I was looking up the upper limit for that as well. So it can cause like it's got a really high upper limit. It's 1,000 milligrams a day, but it can like increased risk of bleeding. It can cause like fatigue, nausea, diarrhea if you've got too much. And then like just like with the vitamin K, you're not going to get there through food. It's going to be through supplements. And so that's something to watch as well. And it's something to, again, look at with your doctor for any kind of like medication interactions, especially like blood thinners and things. So there's yeah, vitamin E. And then my hot topic of the day that I wanted to talk about is vitamin A. Vitamin A is also a fat soluble vitamin. That's what they're called, right? We've got our water soluble and our fat soluble. Vitamin A is a fat soluble vitamin. Again, we really don't see vitamin A deficiencies in a normal general American diet. However, it can happen, and there are certain like diseases or conditions that can cause a vitamin A deficiency. One of those is measles. And anybody that's been watching the news knows that there are quite a few measles outbreak around the country because apparently it's the 1940s and we weren't told. Like, this is something that was gone, right? Like, we didn't see it at all in the United States, and it's a childhood disease that was, I forget if it was considered completely eradicated, or if it was just like extremely low instances. But this is wild to see this much
It
of
was
it. But anyway,
eradicated
it
in
was.
2020 in the US.
Yeah, I thought it had reached eradication, which is a really cool thing from like an epidemiological standpoint, right? Going back to that public health piece, like to eradicate a disease that used to kill so many children is so cool for like the health of your population. That just means that you're going to have more kids that are born actually survive into adulthood. And again, it's like we forgot that was a big thing. Like part of the reason people had huge families is because they didn't all make it.
Yes.
But then came the whole conspiracy theory that autism is caused by the MMR shot, the measles, mumps, and rubella.
Oh my God. No.
Because some people have reactions to shots. My
Which
kids
is,
do. Their
it's,
autism was not caused by the shot.
no.
Other issues were.
Yeah. That's not how it works. So, there have been some stories out online about increasing vitamin A to prevent measles. That's not how it works. You don't get measles because you didn't have enough vitamin A. It's your body and the way it has to fight off the measles can, not always does, but can result in a vitamin A deficiency. But again, this is something that's super easy for a doctor to test for to see if you ended up with a deficiency after your infection. Um, this is not, it's not like a prophylactic thing. Like you can't take it beforehand to prevent it. Um, what would happen is you're taking too much of a fat soluble vitamin that has a known toxicity level that is dangerous, right? So this is where like people think, oh, it's a food, oh, it's a vitamin, it can't be bad. Um, it's it's typically found from taking too many vitamin A supplements, but it's something also, and I mean, this is not a food we eat as often anymore, but like eating too much liver can also result in vitamin A toxicity. And this is my little like fun fact, I guess, for the day. Polar bear liver is so high in vitamin A that people can't eat it.
Non-native people can't eat it.
Non-native people, like I, being the New York white girl that I am not going to go eat polar bear liver. Um, and that's one of those things where like you can different cultures develop to be able to tolerate different things or know how much they can have. Um, but it is something that even the native people of that Arctic region that has polar bears are aware that it is dangerous. Um,
Why they usually only eat it before their big hunts when they're going to be out and gone for extended periods of time.
it
The
is
reason I know
so
this is my son did a project on it.
really. I was like, this is so niche. I'm really impressed. um,
Because
so
we eat
vitamin
liver in our house a lot. My kids call it steak, but I grew up on it. And so we eat it, every other week. Depends on, like, I have iron issues. So depending on how I feel, I'll eat more compared to other days.
and yeah, it's a very so any organ meats are very nutrient dense, and it's something that we've got away from eating as like a general part of our diet. Um, Which actually reminds me, my mom makes a really delicious heart stir fry that I want. Um, the thing with the organ meats though is I feel like sometimes it spins off to the other side where people are like, oh well, I take a dried organ meat supplement instead of a multivitamin, and I'm like, these are not the same either. So yes, they have
I
lots
wouldn't
of
say
vitamins
that
and
fresh is
nutrients in
always
them,
best.
but again, I usually suggest like, well, why are you taking a multivitamin? Are you truly that deficient? What?
Isn't that the saying where fresh is the
What
best?
was that? Um,
You know, eating it fresh or eating it real, not eating it as a supplement first.
so usually in those that I've seen, it's like freeze dried meat essentially. So you're not, it's not like a powder form, it's like a freeze dried cube of meat.
Oh, it's space food.
Yeah, yeah. So you maintain more of the nutritional value than if it was done into a powder. Um, you've just removed the water component, like space food. It's almost like the people at NASA that were developing the food knew what they were doing when they would dry it out and just make it miss the water and not all of the nutrients.
It's
Um,
tricky.
phone keeps ringing, and this is really obnoxious, actually. So, all right. So, vitamin A, right, is not going to prevent measles. Your MMR will prevent you from getting measles. If you're
Yeah.
looking for something to do prophylactically to prevent you from getting the infection, it's already been developed and it's there for you, and it is widely available on everywhere you want to be. You can probably find a doctor's office that's got it. Then you just need to figure out if you need it or not. Um,
And they do have different forms, so you don't need to get the MMR. You can get the mump shot, the measles shot, and the rubella shot separated if you need to.
if
And if
you
you end up
really,
getting the measles, you will more than likely, if you're a healthy average person, you will get a less severe case
because you had your shot,
because you had your shot. On the rare cases, do you actually get a severe case of measles from the measles? But those are usually people who have health issues to begin with, immune
mm-hmm.
system breakdowns.
Yep, yep. Um, now you can have vitamin A deficiency. Um, it is possible. So if you've got a really, really unbalanced diet and you're not eating vitamin A rich foods, so I know we mentioned like liver and organ meats, but there's also, think about like your orange vegetables, carrots, sweet potatoes, deep orange squash. Um, have the precursor for vitamin A, and then your body takes it and turns it into vitamin A. But so if you're really not ever having any of that, or you've got some sort of disease state that makes it harder to absorb, or not even a disease, it could be anything that like changes the way you absorb food. So I saw it with my bariatric surgery patients because they were missing part of their intestines, right? Depending on which kind they got. But the one where they also reroute part of your intestines as well as make your stomach smaller would have more chances for these vitamin deficiencies because they were missing part of the intestines where the vitamin absorption was done. Because it's actually, your intestines are not, all parts are not created equal. Like there's certain sections within your small intestine that absorb certain things. So like if it can kind of, it'll eventually learn and like kind of help the other sections if one section's removed, but it's never quite the same. And this is one of those things where vitamin A absorption wasn't as great, but you could still absorb vitamin A. And so we would need to make sure that that was in the vitamins that people were taking after surgery because they just needed essentially like their intestines needed exposure to more vitamin A so that they could absorb enough of it. Um, so, and you would know, you're not going to suddenly be vitamin A deficient and not know anything's wrong. I feel like there's this other like idea where it's like, oh, well, I need to go get all my vitamin levels tested because what if something's off? And it's like, you would not feel good, right? It goes back to like, you go to the doctor because you don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, then they'd say, hey, you're exhibiting the symptoms of this deficiency. Let's test for it. So if you're back to like vitamin A and why you would be deficient after measles, like, vitamin A plays a role in your immune function and how your immune system works within your body, and how those cells react and everything. So if you had like if you were like getting sick all the time and like having a ton of trouble like healing and getting better and getting over things, I mean there's a wide variety of things that the doctor would look for, but one of them could be a vitamin A deficiency if they thought that that was a reasonable thing. Um, like there's other signs too, like physical symptoms, like dry, itchy eyes, like these they're like these little white spots that you can get inside your eyes, or like difficulty seeing. So the old adage about like eating carrots for your eyes, like it's true, right? Because they're rich in the vitamin A precursor. They've got beta carotene that your body then turns into vitamin A. It does help with your eye health. But if you eat too much, you're going to turn yellow, and that's not great.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So again, with like the moderation piece that I feel like we lack as Americans, it's not all or nothing. It's, how are you doing incorporating these things in? And like when I'm doing the menu planning for the childcare centers for those guidelines, it's getting in one of those high vitamin A vegetables twice a week, right? And of course, we're just looking at breakfast and lunch for these kids. We don't do dinner, but twice a week at lunch they have an orange vegetable. Twice a week at lunch they need to have a dark green vegetable, and that's enough to keep them on the right track. It's not necessarily that these things need to be in there every single day. Your body looks at things over the course of time, and especially if you're not dealing with anything that would like limit your absorption, you can do that and kind of take the average of how things look over the course of a couple days or a week. That's why like one off day really doesn't change much in the long run, but it's like because it's just taken into the average of the week. So please, I don't know. Yeah, please don't take vitamin A thinking it's going to prevent you from getting measles or somehow make it easier for you to get over the measles, because you're just risking a vitamin A toxicity.
Yeah.
Which is it's if you have measles and are worried that it's depleting your vitamin A, you would go to the doctor and get it checked, and then they would tell you, hey, you need more vitamin A, and they would dose it. They'd tell you you need this much vitamin A every day, depending on how deficient you are. And that's the other piece I think is missing too, is that they should not be just sending you to the store and be like, hey, go get some kind of vitamin A supplement, right? Like my son takes magnesium for his migraines, and the neurologist wasn't just like, hey, go find a magnesium. He's like, he needs this many milligrams in this form for best results. And so literally our prescription to take that I then took to Target and bought the right kind was this type of magnesium at this many units, however much we needed. And so all vitamins can kind of be dosed like that as well. And I have not done vitamin dosing by lab levels in a long time. Wow, I am getting old. I'm like, it's my son is now 10. Uh so it's probably been a good like, and Brielle's now 6. So it's been like her whole life. It's been like 6 years since I've done like vitamin dosing by lab. So I don't remember what the amounts are off the top of my head. I just remember that they exist.
So we have someone who wanted to speak. So, did
Yeah,
you have a question? I don't have my glasses on.
Hello,
Andreas, how are you?
that's right. I'm fine, thanks. I'm from Russia. I'm 42 years old almost. What about you? How are you?
great. Thanks. Did you have a nutrition question, or were you just listening in?
No, I really have some mental problems.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Mental problems, this disease, this disaster.
Oh, okay. So are you just listening today, or did you have a question for us?
Okay, how to ignore or destroy the voices in the head?
Say
Can
that
you
one more
repeat that?
time.
Just a little quiet. I have a hard time hearing you.
How destroy or ignore the voices in the head?
The voices.
In the
Okay,
head.
Oh,
gotcha.
we that you definitely need to go talk to your doctor about. That's not something that any kind of nutrition is going to fix.
He's saying nothing. He just give me pills, meds, so I have got to make injuries, injections. So I take pills, but no matter, nothing changing.
Where are you
Yeah, that's
located at?
Ah,
Where are you located at?
in Kaliningrad,
he's in
Okay,
Russia, Mary.
that's fine.
West Coast, Kaliningrad, ex Königsberg.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because this is something that I work with,
Hmm.
is can you see the chat?
Yeah, see.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a link in the chat
Uh huh.
for my calendar.
Uh huh.
Give me 1 minute while I pull it up, and you can set up an appointment with me, and we can talk, get some
Okay.
background information,
Okay.
stuff like that. If that
Do you have account in Telegram? Do you have account in
oops.
Telegram?
Do you have an account in his
And
city?
Telegram, I
Te-
do.
Oh,
Telegram,
in
Telegram,
Telegram? Oh.
Telegram, Telegram. Yes.
No, and Telegram is an app. Yeah, it's an app.
Oh,
I can't
I
hear
do. Give
you.
me 1 minute while I pull it up.
Okay, I wait for you.
All right.
Is it your
All right.
consultation expensive?
No, my consultations are free.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. All right.
thanks, Mary, for getting that all set.
No, not a problem. Yeah, this is what I do. You do the nutrition, I do the head stuff.
Do you have? Yeah, no, I'm glad you were on today so that you could help out.
Are you medicals or paramedicals?
What are my medicals? Oh, I'm trained in integrative behavioral therapy, NLP, timeline therapy, kinesiology, hypnotherapy.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
All my
Okay.
certifications are international.
You
And I'm
have phone
also,
in Telegram, yes?
I do, I just put in my Telegram information
Okay,
for
okay,
you.
okay. It's starting by zero or like something another.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
What's your nick? Mary Stanley.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I will try to find it soon or later.
It's, there you go. It's a plus one.
Plus one. Okay, okay. I see. Gotcha. Thank you very much. So, what's the topic of the conversation?
So the topic
We were
for
talking
today,
about
go ahead, Beth.
vitamins. We were talking about vitamins and supplements, and that you can have too much of them, and that they are not. It really came back around to um, knowing when certain vitamins are appropriate and when they're not, and knowing that you can eat foods that you can't pronounce. That doesn't make them bad.
I see. So, in Russia we got many, how to explain in English, I don't know. It's wait a minute, bioactivity ads. Well, maybe about it's like a vitamins, but it's just not meds. It's almost a meds, but not a meds. Bioactivity, bioactive ads.
So it's like a pill, like a supplement.
It's like medical, but it's not really medical. It's, for example, herbal or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, they're usually marketed to solve some kind of problem, like
Yes.
hair growth or something.
Why so? Why is it so?
What was that?
Why is it so? I ask.
Why we have supplements?
No, no, no. I mean, you say it's not very good for the health.
You would need to, it's more about knowing whether or not you personally need it, right? So
Uh huh.
nutrition and supplements are something
Uh huh.
that's typically very personalized.
Uh huh.
So it's always good to check with a doctor before taking a supplement,
Yeah, yeah.
because they can interact with any medications that you might be on.
See, in the US, they're very big about
Bad,
taking
bad signal. Bad
supplements
signal.
instead of
Bad signal.
eating food compared to
I
other
see. I
parts of the
see. Okay.
world.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Yeah, but if we generally eat decent food, we typically get enough of everything we need, unless there's some other kind of condition going on that requires extra supplements.
Well, I can't remember a time when I reached you directly when I called in to
Is
pick
that
up.
Ron?
I'm,
Yeah.
I hear Ron too. All right.
I'm
Well,
sorry, I closed the door.
So, Andreas, tomorrow at the same time, I am doing,
Подожди.
yes, we're going to do, so if you come back to this channel the same time tomorrow, it is neurodiversity and mental health.
Okay, thank you. I will try tomorrow. But unfortunately, tomorrow I have to make injection in the hospital. So after I will check my additional work. So if it's it will be possible for me, I will try to do it. I will wait for 50 seconds to put your like. It's much. It's less which I could do for you. Okay.
If you can't make it, you
great.
can always
But I cannot follow you. There is no mark of the icon of the following.
Yeah, thanks for the follow.
No, no, don't see the following. I mean, wait a moment. Follow.
I
I'm
will
already
get that
following.
fixed.
I'm already follow you. Wait a moment, please. Sure.
Okay. Great.
Да? Они мне говорят, ну, голоса
All
выключить.
right. Well, it is 1 o'clock, so we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for listening, and thank you for calling in. Um, Mary, do you have like an outro that we need to do?
Please wait for 5 seconds. I will put a like for you. Okay?
Oh, okay, sure. Oh, I thought he was doing an outro. Sorry.
Wait a moment. I will check it right now. What? Oh, gotcha. All right. Thank you very much, Mary Stanley. But I did not find you by your nickname in the Telegram. Beth, do
Yes.
you do you have Telegram?
Yeah. And just follow Optimize My Life show. We have many
Optimize
different
my
shows,
okay. Uh-huh.
and tomorrow I'm gonna do bringing back Thursday's show, and we'll be talking about mental health and neurodiversity.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Good luck for every all of you girls. I want to say God bless you. So we will stand with the God's help. I hope so.
You too, sir.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So join us tomorrow at noon
Oh,
Eastern
for some
time, and we
reason,
are talking
I can't really
neurodiversity,
hear
mental health.
anybody
Hang
anymore.
on.
Mine does that every once in a while. We'll cut out.
It's my signal. We're getting really windy and starting to rain a little bit.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
So next tomorrow at noon Eastern, join us to bringing back the Thursday show, and it's about family, it's about mental health, it's about neurodiversity, it's soup to nuts.
Wonderful.
Friday is Len Kane. Speaking of which,
Too funny. Ron
and
is on the phone with Ann.
so have a good day, have a good night. I
um.
have to take
Thanks,
this
Gal.
call.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Bye bye.
Hi, sir. How are you?